This is the Be the Solution podcast, and I'm your host, Maria Quattrone. Today, I'm so excited to have my friend, Michelle Saward, join us and share how she is being the solution and what that means to her. Michelle has been in the industry for 23 years. She's an associate broker at EXP in Trenton, Michigan. Her team has grown from 3 to an organization that leads 2,000 agents. She personally sold 130 units a year for 7 years in a row. She's an icon agent and has over 2,000 career sales. Southwest Michigan Chamber Award recipient for Women in Business. Michelle understands what it means to start over again. She has been through the ups and downs of shifting markets, had business and personal challenges, yet nothing seems to slow down. Michelle is willing to share it all. She's committed to the growth and betterment of others and has a strong track record for developing and elevating the careers of many who have aligned with her. She's built a reputation for opening doors to a better future. Welcome, Michelle.
Hello. Good morning.
Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, well, this is I think your second time. You're a return guest to the Be the Solution podcast and a friend of the podcast.
That's right.
And I'm happy to have you this morning to share with us. Gosh, it's been probably a second. It's been a couple of years since you've been on, I think. 2 years maybe.
Yeah, I was one of your first people, I think, like in the beginning, I think.
Well, it's longer than that then.
Yeah. All right. Yeah.
So we got a lot to unpack this morning. Michelle, you've been in the industry for over 20 years. Now I can say like myself. And you have a wealth of knowledge and experience, not only just in the real estate business of being a professional broker, but just on the personal side and personal development of life business.
That's true. Yeah. Yeah. I'm a big believer. They go hand in hand.
They do go hand in hand. Tell more, please.
Well, I think if you just live a narrow focused life of very one-sided business only, you're missing a bigger piece of the puzzle. And I can say that with authority because I've lived that life. So I'm just at the point right now where I'm like, okay, just, embracing the other aspects of self, because personal development is, it's essential, I feel, for true growth. I don't think you can have sort of like a lopsided, bush growing if you're not only going to prune one side of it over and over again, right? So I think it's imperative to be a bit more balanced and well-rounded in what it is you're trying to achieve.
Balance. That's quite a word.
Yeah, I don't really believe in balance. If you're trying to go for something, you will be unbalanced for a time if you're really trying to go hard. Olympians don't have social lives, really. You don't, like, you're going to have to make some sacrifices, but I think internally, like personally, you need to do the work and have conversations with yourself about, what it is that you really want. Where are your priorities at this time? Just check yourself constantly.
That little voice that tells you maybe you should have that conversation with somebody, that little voice that tells you drinking wine every day is probably not a good idea.
You've been doing great, by the way. I'm watching.
Yeah. Day 26.
Well, good. Congratulations. That's good. That's good.
Good.
I like that you're doing it. I like that you're still giving yourself permission. I think if I know that's a big deal, because if you just tell yourself no, I don't know about you, but this is how it is for me. If I say no wine, then I'm like, wine, I really want wine. But if you say, you know what? No wine right now.
Yes.
It's not that I can't, then it softens the the drive, like it softens the want, because you give yourself permission.
Permission and having and having a
Mhm.
strong reason and vision behind it.
Ooh.
So the journey of my life, be the solution. I truly believe it. Be the solution. You have the power to change your life.
Mhm.
And if I can't walk in that,
Mm. Girl, this is you just know how to kick this off. I'm gonna tell you. Okay. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm talking about. Like it's walking in that. Being the solution is walking in that. And it's one of the things that have come up for me this week. Such a good segue, Maria. Such a good segue. One of the things that's really come up for me, like, well, in the past couple weeks actually, has been like having those hard conversations that will make a bit of a shockwave or will have an effect after you have those hard conversations or you make those decisions. They could be positive, like no wine. There could be a positive driver on the other end of that, right? Um,
100%.
uh, and usually there is a positive driver. Like for me, one of the things this week was making a decision to release someone, from release someone from my team and from my company. And you think about, okay, ultimately the long game, there'll be a positive outcome as a result. But damn, it's hard in the moment. It's hard in the moment to like be at dinner and have other people around you order wine. It's hard in the moment to have that conversation, releasing an employee, you know, um, and that there will be side effects as a result of it. Like releasing that employee, they're probably not going to be happy with you. Saying no to wine at dinner, there's going to be a conversation at the table like, what's going on with Maria?
Well, ever since I post on social, everybody knows.
I know, but I'm just if
So
they don't
it's
say,
like good, right? So I don't have to answer any questions because I already tell
oh,
everybody
you
what's
did.
going
You did
on.
it up front. Yeah. You're like, this is what I'm doing. This is what I'm up to. Right. Yeah. Yeah. But but moving forward with it anyway.
So
Right.
what happened? So let's talk about the other side of it. And you mentioned this
Mhm.
earlier. What happens if you don't?
What
If
happens if what? If you what?
if you don't make that decision, what's the consequence?
It's a consequence to self, girl. It's a consequence to self. It just sits and it nags at you. And it's like a little rock in your shoe. And um that little rock in your shoe will just get bigger and bigger and bigger. And it will just, cause more aggravation and more trouble if you don't take that little small still voice that you hear and take action on it. Um and 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 being okay with, you know what, there's going to be a repercussion. Like another thing too, I did recently. Actually, this is my month. Changed one of the systems in the way that we're functioning in the office. We've all
Hmm.
had to do this at times.
Tell more.
I mean, do you really think going into it, absolutely everybody's going to love the new system?
No, what did you switch from?
Um, we just we switched our lead routing. We switched up like what we're doing for lead routing and how that's functioning. And I don't want to bore everybody with it, but you might think this is going to be such a better system. It's going to be a way better way to communicate, and that's going to be a much more proactive way to capture leads. And but what you might not realize is not everybody wants to like, do the work in the background to like reconfigure the email and shuffle everything over and just like you don't realize that like maybe somebody else was really happy with their current system and how things were functioning, and that maybe me as a leader, I wasn't functioning as well as I think we could, but they were functioning to their ability and to what they thought was the highest level. And so
Mm.
you can create rubs. It's not like Michelle and Maria have the best ideas all the time. We think we do, but just understand when you go into it, not everybody's going to love everything you're doing all the time and making the decisions that you're making.
Oh, of course not.
No,
That would be too easy.
it would be I mean, it would be too easy.
So, I have a client and a friend, and he's like, can I hit the easy button?
Mm-hmm.
If it's easy, okay, I'll do the deal. If it's going to be difficult people,
Yeah.
he is no patience, tolerance. I just did a transaction with
I
him,
love that.
him and his wife and his mother-in-law, 2.45 million.
Mm-hmm.
And I sold it twice last year. So what the F, right? Didn't get paid. Actually, I got some of the deposit paid, but I did all the work. And he
Yeah.
had to do work too, because as a seller on a commercial building, there's work to be done. You don't just like show up. You
Yeah.
have to provide a lot of documentation. You have to do a lot of stuff. You have to get certifications. There's a lot. People don't even realize
Environmentals, like all that. Yeah.
it's a lot. It's the
Mhm.
transfer of the rents. Even internally, the paperwork that had to be done was days long. So he's like, all right, if I can hit the easy button on this, we'll do it. And I mean, look, I get it. Some people you get tired of the BS and you're just like, I don't care if that thing sells or not. I don't
Yep.
care, whatever. If it can be easy and not bother me too much from the normal things and the people aren't going to torture me, I'm good. I feel
Yeah.
the same way. Like, I
Yeah.
don't want to be tortured. I don't want to hear like blah, 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 blah. And I also am questioning a lot of things.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
I'm questioning really what can be done. And do we give up too easily, Michelle? Do
Mm.
we stop? Do we stop because status quo was to do 100 units a year, 200 units a year, whatever, 500, whatever it
Yeah.
is, whatever it is, status quo. And I've been doing this and that. And you set this many appointments, you go on this many appointments. But I'm questioning, is it possible to do more? And will more actually set you free?
Mm.
Because the consequence of doing more requires more, not more
Oh yeah.
stuff, but more, I want to say organization. We'll use that word. We'll just use that word for a word. But it does require more. And it doesn't necessarily mean that you, at the end of the day, work more. It means that there's more system, process, people in place. And it does set you free. But what are you willing to do that, Michelle? Because you
Uh-huh.
brought this up earlier. What
Yeah.
are you willing to do get the set you free? And you and I have talked about this up teen times.
Yep. For the end result of. Mhm.
So what does it look like?
I think. I think. I think. I think it can also look like total breakdown. I think sometimes you have to take things apart so that you can reset the foundation to build the way that you really want to build for where you're headed now. I mean, look, there's a house down the street from me. They're tearing it down. They tore down 75% of the house. They left the room with the fireplace. They left that wall and they tore down 75% of it.
So
They didn't
they left the foundation.
They left the foundation, the basement's there. They left the fireplace wall, which I'm like, okay. So they didn't need to take it all down, but for what they want now, it's like, okay, we're going to have to change a few things, So it's yeah, I mean it is that question. It's like, okay, will more set you free?
Or what do
Or
you have to give up? What do you have to give up to get it?
well, that's it. What's your trade-off?
So I'll give you an example.
Yeah.
I decided that I'm going to go all in over the next 11 weeks. Now it's 10 weeks and 2 days.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And not that I haven't been
Oh
working
no.
my butt off, but I said, what if? How much more really can I do? So this week I had Tuesday, I had to go to singing practice, didn't go. Wednesday, I had an entrepreneurs club table event where you sit around, drink wine or whatever you want. You don't have to, but that's what I drank when I would go. And you talk about different things, as the entrepreneurs club means that you have to be responsible for payroll. And then last night was like a goodbye party for somebody who worked at the Union League for a long time. I didn't go to anything. I ended up, because everything I had to leave at 5:30 to go.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I ended up working every night until 7:30.
Mm-hmm.
And last night, for the first time, well, the first time that I know about, because I wasn't looking this clearly, but I'm pretty sure first time in a long time, I did over 100 dials yesterday.
Dang, that's hard to do and have a regular job.
And I went on 2 listing appointments, and I listened to the John has his thing going on, conference, and Tony Robbins and Dean Graziosi thing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I got that here. Yeah.
So I looked at it was 6:00, and I looked at my count. It went in and said the report said 82 dials. I'm like, 82. I'm like, oh my God, keep going. Got to get to 100. I did 101. But that's it comes back to thinking, what is possible? What is possible? Whether it's from a transaction, from an agent, recruiting more people, having more transactions, losing weight, like really what is possible, and what have we put self-limitations on?
Mm-hmm. I think those limitations come on too because you stay within your comfort zone and you just, right? Like that's.
Yeah, but so I want to talk about that. You brought something up. People talk about this comfort zone thing all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, if you're not making the money that you want to make, or you haven't lost the weight you want to lose, or you're not in the house that you want to be in, or I could go on and on. Is that comfortable?
Oh no, hey, look.
No,
I get it.
So if that's not, if you're not comfortable with that, you're already not comfortable. So
yeah, take your pick. Actually, I have a girlfriend. I have a girlfriend that just lost a bunch of. I have a girlfriend that just lost a bunch of weight, and she's kept it off. And she was walking with one of her friends who's heavier, and she's like, I don't understand. They went for a walk. She's like, let's go for a walk, and around the park or whatever. And she's like, do you want to stop and get an ice cream? And my friend said, no, I don't. She's like, I don't know how you can live that life, like missing out on all these things. It's exactly what you're saying. She's like, I am not missing out. I discovered how to make zucchini lasagna. She's like, no pasta, just zucchini. She's like, I don't feel like I'm missing out. I feel like I'm gaining. I'm gaining because I don't wake up in the morning and my knees don't ache. I don't have the inflammation. I'm learning new recipes. I don't feel that I'm losing out. And so it's a shift in mindset, and it's a shift in perspective of like, that needs to happen, of like, maybe it's not a conversation about what am I losing? Oh my God, we're going to tear down this house. I've lived in it I grew up in this house. It's like, what are you going to gain? What are you going to gain? You're going to gain, a new kitchen. You're going to gain it's like really focusing on what is the reason behind it, and what are the gains as a result of what you're going to get by putting in the work. It's a shift in focus.
It is. And I think it's a shift in maturity.
Oh, yeah.
I think
Yeah.
I feel that way. I feel as though I still had that like little girl in there from Northeast Philly who wanted to be successful, always wanted to be successful. And she was still there.
Mm-hmm.
She hadn't go away. Bye.
Yeah.
See ya, little Maria. Done with you.
No.
Well, that, and also you said something, Michelle. So it's like, what do you get from X? So right. What do you get when one of the reasons about the Hawaiian was the inflammation. I couldn't get it under control. I'm already gluten-free, sugar-free. And I was walking up steps and properties when I would go to tour them, for listing. And I wasn't out of breath. My legs just ached
Yep.
badly.
Yep.
So I knew, because I've experienced this before, because I had mono, so I have the Epstein-Barr marker. Like 5 years ago, I stopped drinking for almost 4 months. It was from like end of December. Remember, because New Year's Eve was a sober one. End of December, right after Christmas, until we went to Italy. And that was in April. And I fixed everything. Everything got fixed because I stopped eating. Pretty much, I was on that like elimination diet or
Oh, yeah.
or something where you can't really eat anything but fruits, vegetables,
Yeah.
limited meats, no dairy, no. It was a lot of no nothing, a lot of stuff. People are like, "What do you eat?" I'm like, "There's not a lot of things." And nightshades is another thing. I'm staying away from them, and I love tomatoes.
Oh,
And
yeah. Oh, yeah, that's right. You said with the nightshades, like it just messed you up.
yeah, so I've been feeling great this week, but it's a consequence, right? It's of not doing what I think about. Well, I walked by last night 2 ice cream shops, lines out the door.
Yep.
And I was like, I said to myself, I actually can't eat ice cream because it makes me throw up.
Mm.
I can eat it, but
Yeah.
5 minutes later, it's on
Not
the
worth
ground.
it. Yeah.
Well, I can taste it, and then it's just gone. It's not throwing up isn't really necessarily a good thing,
Yeah.
but it's not like throwing, it's spitting up.
Yeah.
So I guess I can't eat it. I mean, I can't eat it here in America anyway. So I said to myself, "Oh, wouldn't it be nice just to like actually be able to eat ice cream and enjoy it?" Right? Just a thought about it. Like I saw people everywhere eating ice cream
Yep.
cones,
Looking
and
at them and being so happy when they smile towards the sun. Yes.
I was like, "Oh, I could have skipped dinner and ate an ice cream cone." And then I was like, "Nah, can't eat an ice cream cone because it doesn't agree with you." And it's just a thing. Like, know what you need to do and do it.
And that is maturity. It is maturity because it's adulting to yourself. It's being an adult to yourself. It's telling that little temper tantrum kid, the little Maria inside of you that says I want ice cream. It's telling her no. You know what I mean? But
It's
the
telling
beauty
her
is,
also, like, stop nagging me. You're successful, right? You can be more. Guess what? Everybody can be more and everybody can be less of whatever. There's a time when it's like, okay, I got this.
yeah, and it's that maturity. That maturity, it's interesting because it doesn't always come with age, but it comes with experience. It comes with life experience. And, you know, I've met people that are, my God, in their 90s and have never had that realization. You know, I've literally met people in their 90s who have not had that realization. But then I meet people in their 30s that get it at a high level. And it's always surprising to me to see who really understands that they are in control of their own situation and they can make these decisions for themselves. They can make the decision to change or not, and I don't know. Like when I think about that, like it doesn't necessarily come with age, but it comes with just like, I guess maybe open-mindedness, like a growth mindset.
Well, I think you get perspective too. I
Yeah.
think you can use perspective to your advantage. Like if in my world, I had 5 years of a lot of hardship,
Mhm.
both personally, um, family, financially, with just lots of
Abs-
different problems.
Yep.
Um, Professionally, because I didn't have enough energy and focus to work at the level that I wanted to. I was working just to keep myself afloat.
Mhm.
Because when you don't have anything left in you and you're
Oh yeah.
so depressed and
Yes.
struggling because of family, because of
Yep.
other people, then it's like after this for 5 years, that's when I said, "You know what? It's my time now. I'm focusing on myself."
Mhm. And that's when it starts with self. I mean, it sounds selfish, but it does start with self.
No, I
Mhm.
give the best advice, Michelle.
Everyone does. Yeah, that's exactly
Michelle,
right. You could give
when you're on the airplane, Michelle, and the oxygen mask comes down, who's do you put on first?
I literally put a picture of an oxygen mask in that little pamphlet from the airplane. Like I printed one off and put it on my dream board for the year as a reminder.
Oh,
Ex-
that's great.
Exactly that.
That's great. I love that.
I did. Yeah, it was great. I needed it. And but it was that reminder because it's funny on the image of that, it shows a mother and a daughter or kid or whatever, I don't know, cartoon kid, whatever. And it shows the clock and it shows like 15 seconds go by before you help the little one. So it puts it in perspective. Like it doesn't need to be this big thing that Maria takes care of Maria. It can be 15 freaking seconds that you center yourself and you take care of yourself first. I've had days where you go, 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 go so hard and you realize you're not breathing. You're holding your breath.
Oh my God.
And um and and every single time I take stock of the fact that I'm not breathing and breathe, it's like things instantly get better. And that's really hard to do to like walk away to center yourself. And if you can't do it in that moment, recognizing in that moment, oof, I'm having a hard time moving forward right now. Like I'm in this. I'm on a Zoom with Maria right now. I can't exactly like cry right now. This would be awkward. Just taking stock, even if in the conversation and say, I give myself permission when this is done, that I can go to the restroom or whatever and take 5 minutes for myself and just breathe or step outside or, like that you're going to allow yourself to process it later. Because if you don't take stock and take that time to process it, that's where the big problems happen
Yeah, eventually.
eventually. But it's
When it
15
all
seconds. It's not long. It's quick.
when it all comes crashing down.
Yeah. And my huge my huge focus right now is staying centered with myself. That's a huge focus for me right now.
What do you
Of
mean by
of everything can be going on around me and not letting that affect me. If chaos is happening around me, it could be professional, emotional, like whatever, just personal thing, anything. If chaos is happening around me, how do I still stay centered with myself in the midst of chaos? That is like the one thing that I am like, I think is a very worthwhile endeavor.
mm, mm, mm.
Because then I can be immovable with self. And and that is actually reading above my head here, being the solution to what is going on around me, period. I myself am in control of myself. I can center myself. I am in control of my own emotions, my own thoughts, my own feelings in this, and I have choices.
Oh, you do have choices.
Yeah.
Why do we so often think that we don't?
That is that is like the mystery question of life. I think that's one of those enigma questions. Like I
You think
think
it's self-induced?
it's all self-induced. And it actually hit me in meditation. I was really frustrated. And frustration is like was like I got a vision of when you're a little kid and why are you beating yourself up for? You take like a little baby's hands and you make a little joke like, why are you beating yourself up? Why are you beating yourself up? And that's all frustration is. It's like you're just beating yourself up. And in the bigger picture of the world, it is like, or in the universe, it's like the silliest thing in the world. It's so silly that you would do that. Because if we are love and God loves us, he would never want to see us abuse ourselves.
No.
And that's all we're doing when we continue to ruminate around a negative emotion. We're just abusing ourselves. Self-abuse. So it's like, okay, how can I shift this thought? What's the next best possible thought that I can reach for? What just gives me just a little more comfort? And maybe it starts with just taking 15 seconds to breathe and to relax.
Well, when you say the breathe part, it's all about changing your physiology.
Yeah.
So if you could like literally jump up and down for 15 seconds and 30 seconds, and it would change your whole physiology.
Yeah.
That's the big thing with Tony Robbins. I know you've seen him before, right?
Oh, yeah. 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 I saw him live. Mm-hmm.
But he talks about that. He's a big believer in the changing of physiology.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Ever notice that you have like a flood of ideas while you're exercising?
Walking.
Yeah.
Lifting weights. Oh, I can't wait to get back to the gym. Thought it would be this week. I'm still getting the morning routine acclimated.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, okay, when I had the wine, I had I was up earlier.
Yeah. Oh, you were up earlier with the wine?
Yeah. Because I had my body's, my hormones are all messed up because homeostasis. The body's like, what did you do? You removed the stuff. So it takes time to reset.
Oh, for sure.
Blood circulating, all kinds of stuff. It makes you tired.
I would have thought
things all around.
But I would have thought that you would, I guess it makes sense what you're saying. On the surface, it's like, it seems like it would have been harder to wake up in the morning when you had the wine. But
no, because I'm not drinking wine. I'm not drunk. Like I'm not getting drunk.
No. I know, but what you're saying is like you're actually, your body is like recalibrating and
yes.
Yeah.
It's recalibrating. Yeah. It's like, I think you did something good, Maria, but you wreaked complete havoc over the last 25 days, and we need to reset all this.
Yes.
So that's what's happening. I mean, I'm telling you, I had headaches, stomach aches, tiredness. Now this week, I think I'm through the muck.
Yeah, over the hump.
I'm over the hump.
Yeah, that's good. That's great.
It's all part of like really going back to where we started. Like, really, what can you do?
Mm-hmm.
What are you capable of, Michelle, that you haven't done yet?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I was giving thought to that actually last night, and it's exactly what I talked about at the beginning of this conversation. My next steps are just going to require more courage. More courage of authenticity. Mm-hmm. And I don't know, maybe I'm a little more sensitive than others about this stuff. You always want everyone to be comfortable with you and to get along and to not, you know what I mean? Like, can we just keep peace and authenticity?
I don't.
Doesn't. Yeah, I know you don't. This is why we're friends. This is why I go, okay, Maria. You're like, who cares? Get on with it. Do it.
Who cares? Get on with it. You know, do you follow any of the great minds like Marcus Aurelius or anybody like that?
Like Stoics, like all the Stoics.
Yes.
If a quote catches me, but not.
So I read this every day. Ryan Halliday sends out an email.
Yeah.
And if you follow the Stoics and you believe in Stoicism,
Mhm.
it's the love of fate for fate itself. That's really what it comes down to. You and it goes back to saying when you change the way that you look at things, the things you look at change.
Yeah.
And mostly 99.9% of the shit that people complain and worry about mean absolutely nothing. We're
100%.
we're a tiny little speck of nothing,
Yeah.
basically.
And I'm gonna tell you what, God is laughing at your annoyance and your frustration, your pain. He thinks it's the silliest thing that you've ever done to yourself. He doesn't understand it at all. God doesn't get it. He's like, I don't get why you humans do this to yourself. This is what I believe. Like, he's like, I would never want that for you. You're not here to suffer. You're here to, right? Yeah.
That's why I go back, and I'm going to keep going back to be the solution. You have the power inside to change your life.
Yeah.
It's up to us. There's nobody else. Nobody, my husband, your husband, they ain't coming to save us. They might pick us up from work and tote us around and do fun things with us and help us with our business, but they ain't coming to save. No one's saving us.
Mhm.
Nobody can do the work but us.
Right.
Each individual.
It's an
And
inside job.
it's an inside job, Michelle, all right? And getting real with yourself,
Uh-huh.
saying, what the F,
Yep.
you know? Also, not being too hard on yourself, too. Give yourself some grace when you need it.
Oh yeah.
But I think, we're Gen X's, right? Gen
Mhm.
X's.
Yeah. Yeah, we are.
We just did stuff. We just rode our bikes. We disappeared for 8 hours. Nobody cared.
Nope.
Now it's like you're calling the police if your kid's gone for a day. I just feel like the
My
world has
parents wanted
gotten
me gone for the day.
what?
I said my parents wanted me gone for the day.
Oh yeah. I feel like I guess it comes back to I feel like the world's gotten soft. I feel like everybody gets let off the hook too easily. I feel as though we don't hold each other accountable the way that should be. Um, I mean, I remember growing up and working for people, and they would beat the fuck out of you, not physically, but get it together, girl. Like, God forbid you say something negative to somebody or something you got the apple, the carrot or the stick. If you gave somebody the stick right now, you would be arrested.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I think not having a phone, living with, growing up talking to people. I was that kid that I would be best friends, Michelle, with your parents. I'd be invited for dinner all the time because I would just acclimate towards people that were older. And I probably because I was very inquisitive
Mhm.
and my friends, I was talking about whatever, boys or Barbie dolls or whatever. And I wanted to know about what do you do? How did you come to be an attorney or a grass cutter, whatever, people
Yeah.
did. It was, I think back about it and it's interesting.
You were asking the parents questions about how did they
Everything,
start?
whatever I wanted. My mom said I drove her absolutely insane.
Well, it's a good thing you're running a podcast now. You're using your powers for good. You see, you got all
Ah,
your
yes.
practice. You got
Yes,
your you got your practice as a child asking all the
I
questions,
did indeed.
and now your
Mm.
questions are a bit more sophisticated, and they're definitely, you got beyond the surface level stuff of
Mm,
the pot that you're cooking, and
yeah. Well, it was practice.
definitely practice.
Who would have
Definitely.
known? You can't connect the dots backward,
No,
forward, only backwards.
I keep reminding myself of that. I remind myself of that all the time. All the time. I'm reminding myself of that. I'm going through some tough stuff right now, and I just keep thinking, wow, I'm going through this hard time right now, which
With what?
means I'm going to learn I'm learning lessons right now. And so I'm like, if you're going through something hard, it's because you're learning a lesson. And then I think, cool, how am I going to need this in the future? How is this going to manifest in the future, these lessons that I'm learning right now? Ooh, this will be interesting to find out how these dots connect going forward. Like, because you can't see it when you're in it, right? Like right now, while I'm in it, I've got people falling away that are surprising me that are falling away. I'm dealing with, maybe like, well, I'm dealing with, feeling like with some people I was helping, but realizing that they didn't see it as help. Like I'm dealing with some stuff like that where you're like, oh, wow, that's surprising that you would see the relationship this way. And, I thought I was helping. Um, and you think I'm meddling or what, like just stuff like that. And I'm like, okay, that hurt. That was a tough one. That's a lesson. Damn. How am I going to use this in the future? How's it going to show up in my life? I wouldn't be going through a hard time right now unless there was going to be a reason to use this information that I'm gaining right now down the road.
Well, as they say, life happens for us, not to us.
In the
And
moment,
there's
though, it can be hard.
no shit. I just went through a shit show for how many years?
Yeah,
Every time you talk to me, you're like, oh God,
you did.
what is she going to say now? I can't believe what she's telling me. I can't believe this is happening. That's what you thought.
That's true. I was like, how many people are not well right now? Around, like, what? No way. Yeah. Yeah, you had it hard.
Perspective. It builds perspective.
Mhm.
It builds a lot of other things too. And people that understand it. And I only had like one person, maybe two, that were like two people that said it's happening for you. It's going to
Mm.
change your life.
Yeah.
As painful as it is.
It's hard in the moment.
Oh,
It's
it's hard. Brought me down to my knees. Was laying on the kitchen floor like in a ball, crying.
Yep. Yeah.
That's
Yep.
real.
That is right. Yep. It is so hard in the moment to stay in faith and to stay grounded that there is going to be a positive on the end. And I meet it with now curiosity. I had this conversation with my title lady yesterday. I was like, I'm just so curious what the unfolding is going to look like at the end of the day. Like, how is it? Because if everything's happening for me, ooh, I'm super excited that I'm going through shit right now. Like, I'm super excited that I'm having like
It's a great perspective. It's a great perspective to have. It really
the
is.
only thing that will give you hope to keep moving forward is like, this is a long
And
time.
and
Yeah.
it might not present itself for some time. And then
No.
one day you're like, oh man, that makes sense. Okay. Okay. And you might not know. It's okay. But
Yeah.
it will change you
Yeah.
like it has me.
Yep. And that's not a bad thing. I feel so good. Like I'm gonna have a birthday in 11 days.
Soon.
Yeah. And I'm gonna have a birthday. And
Is it a big one?
no, it's a 48. It's not like a big one, but
No, you're not welcome to the club yet.
not yet. Not yet. I'm not in. I'm knocking on the door though. Uh and I just think if I feel this good at 48, what's 58 gonna feel like? 68, 78. Because I just feel so much more myself and so much more awake and in tune and aware, present. Like I'm excited for it.
Mm. The one thing you mentioned, like trusting God, that was what got me through.
Yeah. Yeah.
Big time.
That's it. Yeah, absolutely. When you have
Big time,
nothing
big
else to
time, big
stand
time.
on. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
One day at a time, girl. One day at a time. I
Yeah.
still say it. One day at a time.
That's the other thing. Growing older is not for the weak.
Well, and the alternative kind of sucks.
It sure does.
So enjoy the ride.
Enjoy it.
With that, I get two questions before we wrap up today.
Okay, let's
Number
do this.
one, number one, what's your guilty pleasure?
Chocolate chip
Dark or
cookies.
milk?
Chocolate chip cookies, actually, if I really want to be specific.
Nestle Toll House recipe?
Yeah. Well, then it would be chocolate chip
Any
cookie dough.
or any cookie?
No, I like a Mrs. Fields,
Oh,
like a nice hot, you know what I mean? Like that.
you're
Like
gonna get it from like it's coming out of the oven.
like it's coming out of the oven. Yeah.
Yum. I loved chocolate chip cookies. I
Yes.
still make them,
I do
even
too.
though I don't eat them. But I did eat one at Christmas,
Oh
maybe
yeah.
two,
Yes. That.
even though it wasn't gluten free. Nonetheless,
Mhm.
I made them for everybody else, and the whole office loves them. They're like, "Are you making those cookies?"
Yeah.
It's like crack. I'm
Yeah.
like, "Yes, I'm gonna make the cookies." They're like, at the first time I ever made them for the office, I literally never seen people eat cookies so fast in my life. They were
Well,
all gone.
I found out, like, which I didn't know, because you can read the recipe off the back of the chocolate chip cookie bag, but there's a better recipe that when you put shortening in with the cookie. So,
Oh,
oh,
hmm,
mm, yeah.
interesting.
Now we're getting on Mrs. Fields level. Now we're getting.
I see. I see. Well, I mastered that recipe, but we'll have to look into
We'll have
the.
to do an exchange. Well,
Okay.
I'll
One
give you.
last thing before we wrap it up.
All right.
What are you most excited about for your future?
I think we talked about it. I'm really excited to connect the dots going forward. Like, I cannot wait to look back on these points in my life and and be able to tie a bow around the lessons I learned and understand why I needed them and how they are going to help me in the future.
Mm,
Like, that is what I'm most excited about. I'm excited about the discovery and connecting the dots.
I love it. Well, we will have you back on to unveil that in the future once the discovery
Oh,
is made. And hopefully it's sooner than later, but it will come when it's supposed to come.
that's
But
awesome.
Michelle, thank you, my friend,
Thank you.
for your time today on Be the Solution podcast. Love you. Mwah.
Thank you.
My pleasure. And people can find Michelle. She is in Trenton, Michigan.
That's right.
And Michelle is on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. So you can find her there. Michelle Saward. Just
Yep.
Google her and her information will pop up if you need any help in Trenton, Michigan.
Thank you.